Hi Kawan, welcome to EDCReady. Today I want to talk about knives in my collection that are below $30. Recently I uploaded a video where I talked about knives that are, below $50, and I just want to trim down that fat a little bit to talk about what are really the most amazing budget of the budget knives that I have. And these are the 4 knives in my collection that are below $30. We'll start with this guy, because this guy is actually just a friction folder. This is actually sold on Thomas Tools, so you can have a link down below. In fact, all of the links to all of the reviews and overviews and affiliate links are in the description down below for each of these knives. This is a Higcomi. I've seen a few from Thomas Tools. This is the, I can't remember what finish this is, but this is like the green starburst metal one. This is a nice little carbon steel Higcomi traditional Japanese knife design. They even etched my name in there, and this was actually a present. So give them a little shout out here on my channel. There's some really nice wood ones. Some of the tiger wood ones are just really beautiful. So yeah, this is a great knife. Just be forewarned, it will it will rust up quite often because it is a carbon steel. So moving on to some brands that actually would be more popular in this category. First of which, I want to talk about the king of budget folders, the king brand when it comes to the best bang for your buck. And it's going to be this guy. This is the Gonzo. So Gonzos historically used to be known for kind of copying off like Spydercos and Benchmates and just putting on their G-lock, which is almost exactly, in fact, it is functionally exactly like an axis lock, but the patent expired, so they can't legally use it. In this particular case, this is the Gonzo. I can never remember their names. This is the Gonzo F753M. And this is just a great budget knife. This, when it came out, when I bought this was below $20. This would have been $17, but I don't know what the prices are. I think on Amazon you can still find them for below $20. This is just a great little budget knife. You have G10 scales, full steel liners, an axis lock that will not G-lock, or an axis lock that will not break on you after 6 months. I'm looking at you, my Benchmate bug out that I no longer have. 440C blade steel. And one thing about Gonzo is that their heat treat is actually really good. I've had a few Gonzos before. I've had other 440C Gonzos. I've had Gonzos that run D2, and their steel is actually pretty darn good, especially for the price. So what you're gonna get with this, I already mentioned the handle material, the blade steel. You're gonna get a not so deep carry pocket clip and a pretty good action. If you take this guy apart, you're gonna see those mix of Teflon and fossil bronze on each side. But you know what, it still works pretty darn well. This is my favorite budget knife just to carry with me on days where I may be traveling, where I might be worried that I might lose a knife, but the price is so affordable that, well, I'm not gonna sweat too much about this knife. Next up in my collection, something that's a little bit more sentimental. This is a CRKT Razelcliffe, and the reason why is because this is made by Graham Designs. Okay, so the guy who made this, he recently passed away, I believe earlier this year. Or was it end of last year? And Jon Graham is such a prolific knife designer. He designed many amazing knives for CRKT and for his own custom work. And what makes it really special is this blade shape. It's called a Razelcliffe. So it has a Razel blade. So that is razor plus chisel. So it has 2 sharpened blade edges that comes to a nice point here. Great for pull cuts. This is a great little event knife. Every time I have an event where I know I'm going to be opening up boxes, cutting up cutting up cellophane tape, this is going to be the guy that's in my pocket, because the ergonomics are actually really nice. To hold it like this, you need to do any kind of really hard push cuts through something. This gives you a lot of leverage, but the best way to use this knife is as a pull cut. You put it in cellophane tape or any adhesive tape or whatever, punch in this little corner right here just like that, and just pull it. So the chances of you cutting something on the inside is very minimal, and that's great when you're cutting up boxes that have a lot of goodie bag items inside of it. What you're gonna get, this is I believe $30 last I checked on Blade HQ. There is a G10 model where you have steel on one side and G10 on another side. I think that is for some reason slightly more expensive, $35 or so. But this guy, last I checked, was still $29 on Blade HQ. You can also find it on Amazon. You get full steel scales here. It is not skeletonized, so this is quite a hefty knife for its size. but it's actually done really well. You have nice chamfering and rounding on the edges here, and even on the inside, which a lot of companies forget to do. A lot of companies tend to keep the inside here relatively sharp, kind of like this guy. The edges here are kind of stone washed away, so it's not that sharp, but some Spydercos on the inside here tend to get really sharp. You have a nice little finger choil here, some texturing in the back here. You can hold it back like this. You get a pinky in the back there. Very stable. You can even choke up a little bit because you have unsharpened portion here, but that's only for really small fingers. You can do a lot of really detailed work. 8CR13 MOV steel blade, but that, which is not a great steel, great for budget steel. It's good enough for a budget steel, but it's not a great steel. But what makes up for it and why this guy stays is because of the amazing design touch that Jon Graham has. And what I really like about this is that this is a stone wash black coating, so you get this nice like halo effect on the edges here. See, you get this nice little halo effect, which I really like. Next up, another American company. This one's called Kershaw. Kershaw has a massive range. Their range starts, you can find knives from Kershaw that are like $20 odd, $22, all the way until like $200 something for their live wire. This one, their neck knives. This is called the Kershaw Brace, and it does come, with a little lanyard neck clasp rope paracord thing here. This is meant to be a neck knife, but I did stick a little bead in the back. This bead was given to me by members of the EDC Malaysia. And what you have here is that you have a nice sheath that is ambidextrous. The sheath works well in both directions. It's completely symmetrical. And then the blade itself is actually really small. This is a sub 2-inch blade. This is a 1.9 inch blade, made in China, 8CR13 MOV steel. You have a little bit of FRN here. FRM, is it? It's either FRN or G10. A little bit of FRN scales here. They are screwed together. Get a surprisingly good handle design for such a small knife. This is crown on the edges all the way up to the top here. You have some nice finger grooves here that are also rounded. All the metal edges here are rounded. The only part of this that is not rounded is actually the sharpened edge, but everything else is nice and smooth and rounded. Even the jimping here, you can see that no particular triangular peaks that are pointy. So in hand, this is actually really comfortable to use. Now imagine this is not here. Your pinky will still end up in the back, and then your 3 fingers fit in here nicely. I do wear small size gloves, so keep that in mind. And what I love is that this jimping is a little bit further forward, so you get your thumb that rests right there, and it's like the perfect place for your thumb to rest. And then from there you can do any kind of cuts. This is a great knife that I lend out to people, especially when, this, again, sometimes I work events, sometimes you need to open boxes full of goodie bags. Great knife to lend out to people because they don't need to worry about things like lock and closing the knife. Some people are very uncomfortable with closing knives that come down towards your thumb, okay? And some people don't have the dexterity because they're not used to it, of using something like an axis lock, okay? But this guy, sheath in, sheath out, is gonna be safe, it's gonna be secure, and it's small enough that it's not gonna scare anyone. I've handed this to HR people in my office, and they're not scared of it, so that's great. Add a little bit of a lanyard here, just to have a little bit more grip in the back, so my hand can fully extend out, and this giant bead here just secures it in a little bit better, because this guy, even though ergonomically it's done quite well, a lot of finger grooves, it can feel small in a way that it's kind of, it might slip out of your fingers because it rocks a lot for some reason. Because of the angle of the back here and then the pivot point here, it does rock a lot when it's in your hand sometimes. So having this just adds that little bit of extra security in case that it does get pulled out. This bead here is gonna stick it into your hand. This guy, I believe this was around $22, but the price has gone up a little bit. Check in for local listings. I'm pretty sure it's still below $30. Okay, thanks guys. As I mentioned, the links for all of the reviews for all these different knives are in the description, as well as some affiliate links. Do check out my Patreon if you want to support the channel. Thanks, and as always, stay ready.